Hello and welcome, Cosmic Quantum Travelers. I hope you're okay. Thank you so much for waiting. I'm just going to do one thing. Sorry, the camera wouldn't work. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for waiting. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you can all hear me. Yay. Okay, good. Hi, Neil. Hi, Mike, Julia. Wisdom of the Light. Hi, David. Victoria. Hi, everyone. I hope you're doing okay. It's been a tough week, hasn't it? Let's quantum leap together. That's what I'm here for. Hi, Carol. Hi, everyone. So basically, I wanted to give a verbal update today of also the last two activations over the last 2 days. And we have another one coming in just under 2 hours. And I thought this would be a good way to say hi and check in. And if anyone has any questions as well, or just good to join in a live group field in that sense as well, although we do try to go beyond all the technology and really connect organically in the field. And that's also what remote activations are really good for. And especially if you do them together repeatedly, you really build up a very strong telepathic connection and group field. So that's why the activations are always super powerful, and I love doing them because you can kind of, it's just a bit different to doing something live where I have to look at the camera and speak. So at least you don't have that level. And also very much where we are going and what we're accessing is really beyond words. And also, especially my daily uprights in connection to the activations, it's at this point very repetitive because we keep going through the same layers. It's just layer after layer of just going deeper and deeper. And again, each person picks up also what's appropriate for them in a now moment, depending on their template, what I've already healed, what they're ready to activate. But I'm going to share today a little bit today this way. But there is a lot of shift and change energy obviously happening at the moment. And I really feel work in general, my work and other people's work or work play is also changing. And what I'm seeing is really just leaving it wide open for the moment and see what's coming in, because I'm not guided to do anything yet on this 3D level. What I'm seeing coming in is much bigger, and it's really many of us being ambassadors of or for Earth intergalactically. So I wanted to go through a few points today. I have a few notes in case I forget. And I will also open up to some questions later on. So a lot of what's been happening this week there has been a lot of contracting energies and pushbacks of what we're trying to do here. And also what I do has a lot to do with, a lot of what I write and speak about. I know of my power of the word, okay, of us manifesting. And I've mentioned this before. And also the importance of us feeding even the AI with positive information in order also to counteract the negative pushback and negative information and misinformation and so much that's going on in the field. Now, ultimately, this journey is about our own self. It's a very personal journey, and I don't believe there's any one way of doing this. But it's also a collective effort where we're obviously here to share our gifts and abilities. And that's what I'm always very much in favor of and pushing. And that's why I always share also so much, is because I know I've just been guided to be very public in order to also, be the frequency of truth, speaking from the heart, being the change that we want to see out there. And also speaking for the true Christ and what it really means, and the true teachings that have been withheld over the eons, and the true history records, and what this is really about, the Ascension. Because I think a lot of people have got a bit lost, and this week has felt very much like heavy lifting, at least for me. And I know other people as well. I mean, not just this week, but very much the field has felt a little bit deflated and a lot of chaotic, contradicting energies. And it just makes it for people like me a lot harder to keep on going and keep holding the light, keep holding the vision, keep holding the frequency. And then you have the pushback from the field of kind of as if, you know, the people that should stand with you are kind of the ones that are contradicting or bringing some of that polarity into the field, which is totally fine, because it has, you know, everything is perfect. It should be voiced and it has to come up and out. And I totally see people are slightly burnt out and a bit deflated, or, you know, we go through different phases, and also everybody's always at a different place at a different time. That's how we hold the balance. That's how I see it. And, you know, when somebody's happy, another person might get triggered by that post because they feel kind of the opposite on that day, whatever it may be. And there are also different soul groups and different collectives, and they resonate with different materials, and ultimately it's all perfect. But what I'm all about, and I wish more people would be pushing a lot more, is not so much of what has happened or even what will happen. It's more of like, how are we going to make it happen? Or helping make it happen, because it really is a beautiful balance of surrender and discipline, where you get the flow state of knowing when to do, when to be, when to ultimately it is surrender to divine will, but then you become literally divine will embodied, and you become a pure vessel for God and Source to work through you, because we cannot do this without boots on the ground, quite frankly. We cannot do this with people without people realizing their power and reclaiming it fully now. Because we are the ancient priests and priestesses, or it's literally quantum, it all exists in the now time, and all these different stations of identity that we are merging with multidimensionally need to be integrated in a lot of peace and silence and accessed, and also the gifts and abilities shared. At least that's what I see. It doesn't matter with how many or which way. Ultimately, you creating it for yourself is enough. But also exchanging codes is so important. And I think a lot of us have felt very alone, whether, you know, we appreciate that aloneness, or, you know, I think to a certain extent, even if we do wish, you know, the connection with soul family now. We just wish to have people around us with soul resonance that really get us. We would like to live in Christic communities, or whatever you would want to call it, but just, you know, soul resonance of soul family around us, because we've transcending and not even behind all of these karmic stories. And we are also here to co-create a new earth projects, so to say. And so it's in the aloneness, the all oneness, so in the aloneness that we find the all oneness truly, because ultimately there is only one of us here. But we're also getting to a point now, what I feel, because it's a big shift and change time, and however way this is unfolding now, but I think we can all feel it. We're really yearning for that soul connection and don't want to do this journey anymore on our own. And I feel this very much coming in. But whilst that was happening, we really had to say a lot of yes and no's to of what we want in our reality and what we don't want in our reality. And that's really a lot of also what the Ascension journey is about. And Ascension for me is about, first of all, polarity integration. That's what we're all here for. If we want to move from polarity consciousness and victimizer consciousness to unity consciousness and the new earth blueprints that are based in the oneness, then obviously we are here to embody that oneness. And we have to transcend or integrate all of the polarities, all of our multidimensional selves. And all these people who are annoying us so much, they're literally helping us do that. And it's always the biggest challenges that are offering us the biggest soul growth lessons. So that's what we've been navigating, especially lately. And There had also been obviously a lot of interferences trying to play out through people either close to us or anyone in our field. So also as we go through big phases and processes of integration, multidimensional integration and merging, we do need a lot of space in our physical field and quiet and silence in order for that to happen, so you don't have interfering frequencies around you. And whenever you are in close proximity with someone, especially living quarters, you do exchange your, your energy field kind of merges or intermingles, and there are certain overlaps that happen, and that's why it's also so important to keep clearing our field, strengthening our field, closing out any openings and holes, and cutting any cords and all of that. So that's also what we've been doing a lot of these activations and in general. So it's a lot of this layer by layer, really. We're releasing all that what was not our true self, and it's all about know thyself. So us getting to know our true self, and when we really know our true self, you know God, and then we have really merged with the oneness. And this is where many of us are now, very much completing divine inner union, which is also what Ascension is about. So it's polarity integration, which is also divine inner union. It's more so than a union with another person that really happens within you, and then a divine union may come in with another person, or obviously you can also do it simultaneously, going through this journey whilst you're with another divine counterpart. So again, there's not one or right or wrong way to go about. But one thing is for sure, I believe, first of all, Ascension is not just 5D. Ascension is, as the word says, ascended master level beyond. So that's 12D beyond. So this is what we're also integrating at a higher level, our avatar level, that's also merging now with the pre-meta fields or Rishi levels and the ascended master guardian levels. And that's what some of us are accessing. But again, I think people are a bit confused of what is this really about. It's a lot of hard inner work. It's a lot of discipline. I've been doing for years daily clearing and upgrading of my morphogenetic field. And then I also do this planetary wide, and then I share it with you. So, and layer by layer, it happens. And this journey is really for the brave of heart, the brave, the strong people. And, it's sorting the wheat from the chaff in a sense. So it's about your pure intent, and it's even beyond spirituality. Of course, it's about us connecting with Source and our higher identities and higher levels. So higher stations of identity, which is your soul, oversoul, then the avatar and the Rishi ascended master levels. And not everybody needs to do that. So there are different levels of what we may be also here for. The material that I share is not for everyone. So not everybody is interested on full ascension. But what we are, a lot of what people that are gravitating towards my transmissions would be here in order for us to dissolve and fully free humanity from the artificial matrix overlays. So there's an organic matrix that we have now fully anchored and are accessing, and we're just dissolving the last layers of the artificial matrix overlays, which are really based on false perceptions and projections of the one consciousness. Because we can make this as complicated as we want to, but it really comes back to us having fallen in consciousness as the one consciousness. It's gotten all fragmented and lost in a collective psychosis, and now we're awakening up from that. And it's really not about them out there, that we just have us to see more deeply and clearly what still needs to be integrated and alchemized within us. So that's what I see Ascension is really about. So it's not just 5D, it's 12D and beyond, and it's about polarity integration, it's about divine union, which a lot of us are completing right now. So that's the Holy Trinity of the Divine Father, Divine Mother, Divine Child. And that are also the pre-meta levels of sound and light that we are now fully, the dark matter body upgrades, the Russia body upgrades that are also helping, because they are literally what is, the consciousness instruction sets for the physical realities in our bodies. And it's really all quantum completing now. And I don't really talk about time. I always say you have to transcend time. It's a 3 and 40 concept, time, space, and gravity. If you keep seeing it from that perspective, you will keep being in a waiting frequency, in a frequency of waiting, in a frequency of, it's never happening now. It's in the future, and in the quantum now, you're already ascended. You already have an ascended aspect of you that is not in this simulation. You need to imagine you're literally in a simulation right now, and as you're fully waking up, it will be at one moment in time, as if in the blink of an eye, where you're just waking up in a different reality. At least that's what I keep seeing, and it happens in no time. It's already accessible, and that's where we need to quantum leap to. So don't ask when it's going to happen, how it's going to happen. You keep quantum merging, aligning, and synchronizing with that version of you that is already ascended, that is already existing now, in the timeless now moment, your one true self, that's eternal. That's part of the oneness that never dies, that can see past the illusions. And I think enough of us can see through past illusions. And that's where quantum physics really brings science and spirituality together, is that it's showing us we are hallucinating this reality through our mind, through our consciousness. So as we shift the way we look at things, the things we look at change, because we have to change our perception of what we're looking at. And it's so important to keep remembering that, because it's literally about, we have fallen in consciousness, so it's about our work, but we need to keep awakening to greater levels of consciousness, or at least not keep falling back asleep behind the steering wheel, because we have always co-created this as one. It's just that we've fallen asleep. We can always see this from many different layers of reality and dimensional insights, but everything always, any negative thing that has happened to us always has carried also positive to it, and the other way around. And there's so many different layers of truth that something that seems negative at our level of perception, there's a divine orchestration underlying everything here. And that's what we're remembering now. And I very much, that also correlates with the looking glass technology material that's out there and has been shared before by many and also by me, of where it also speaks about, at one moment in time, it's literally just like an awakening, and we are all remembering the truth again. So I do not see this as a disclosure happening on screens, although this might somehow, and is already really happening, that more and more truth is coming out, because it's from the inside and then out. So the more truth we really embody, we can be our authentic self in the frequency of truth, the more we see truth reflected back to us all around us. But obviously it's not always just a case of, we also need to be very patient for divine frequency alignment, aka timing, for everything to align, because everybody is playing a role here. And it's literally like the butterfly effect of everything needs to come together at the right moment in time for it to really click, click, click. But all I see is the stargates are aligned, the planets are aligning, the planet is aligning, the axial tilt. So that's with the poles wandering. It's really us returning back to where we should be, or where the natural axial position was of the planet. So now we are connecting back through Sirius, Andromeda to Lyra with the Lion Stargate, and the 12D Stargates down here all the way up to Lyra being repaired and reclaimed. So that's now us over the last week, especially anchoring a whole lot of light, whilst you have the pushback and also you're clearing all of that stuff. But I can definitely feel a massive shift in the field since the Lionsgate. That is just confirming to me of what I can see and have shared has been happening in the field. And I know other people can feel it as well. And that's the thing, we need to really feel into this, because if we keep looking into a 3D reality that has been like a veil on top of, what's really true and organic, and not showing us the real realities, but like an artificial copy and inversion of it. If we can't look past it, if we can't go within, if we can't access our extrasensory abilities, our psychic senses, this is also what Ascension for me is all about. It's not about us just relying on our 5 senses, normal sight, taste, whatever, feeling and all of that. It's also the inner side, claircognizance, clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, all of these extra senses, and all the others that are part of our superpowers that allow us, that's our inner organic technology, same as for healing and manifestation, telekinesis, teleporting, all of that, okay, which we're here to access, and we're here to remember it again. So there is not one manual out there that will tell you how to all do it. Anything I've learned is really, especially when it comes to kind of dealing with the negative entity side of things, has been remembered, and it just comes in as you kind of go through it, in my experience. And I'm sure there are also many people that share a lot of techniques, and some might be helpful and others not so much. But ultimately for me, and I believe we all have the ability to access this from within, our inner wisdom, and this is really what this is all about, especially the phase right now. Just before I forget it, if all I do share does support and help you, underneath also in the description box are donation details if you can help with a donation, because everything I do share is for free and donation based. So I do very much depend on that. So thank you very much if you do want to. And also just a quick reminder that we do a remote activation, which is titled Igniting All New Organic Ascension of Realities Now. One today, in about 1.5 hours from now, and then at the same time again tomorrow. So that's 10 p.m. UK time. The details are also beneath. And we are a little bit thin on numbers on these series of activations, being 10 days. I feel it has a lot to do with where we're at the moment. And, many different reasons for it. But just, ultimately I was also shown, and this is also what I want to share with everyone, this is about, as long as we believe in ourselves, in our vision, in what the messages we receive, the psychic abilities we have, that wisdom, those extrasensory, our super powers, and abilities, igniting and accessing them, it what brings more online. And this is really what all of this is about. So the more we can share, the more we can use them, the more that will come online. And it's certainly not just done through the activations, but it's really us believing in that is enough. So me knowing where we're at, for example, on this ascension journey, it's not what I'm sharing necessarily about me convincing anyone. It's about what also shown to me, when we know we are running the codes for these new earth realities, it's enough if one of us is just running these codes and we know that we have that power. It's literally the frequency of the power. And if we know we are holding certain keys and codes for the collective, we know that it will just go out if we are activating them. So again, we don't need to do, something public or share on the level that I do. It's so much about the inner work that takes place. And that's why I always would implore you to go freestyle beyond anyone telling you an activation, or even the ones that I'm offering. But that's also why the remote activations are so nice. You get in all the frequency and, us amplifying the power together, but also each one can kind of do their own grid work, if that's what they do, or gate work, and use it also for their own healing and make intentions. But it's really about us accessing in our own silence, through our own connection, through our heart, with soul and spirit and source, and our higher levels and identities. Because the instruction sets, the manuals and coordinates are very much inside of us, and it's where we're accessing them. At least that's what I'm being shown. And a lot of, we obviously have all learned certain things from other people, but then at some point, this is a lot about unlearning and just really, again, remembering our truth. And when we want to do this, we also have to take in less. And that's also a little bit of what's happening. So you do seek less of guidance from other people and so forth. but it's kind of a both ends. It's where once you've created enough sovereignty in your own field, where you're not so much influenced by other people's frequencies and their opinions and their judgments and energies, the more you can actually mingle and have more fun with it. And also, if you come together with the right people, you really activate each other, and beautiful things can really happen. And I really feel there is a want for this, there is a need for that after all this incubation time and all this cave time to come together. At least I am. And I felt also for the last 2 days there has been a lot of we've been in a holding pattern. A lot of the forerunners are kind of ready and done with their lessons. Like, there's always more, of course, but generally the bulk part of, okay, we're free of karma now, all of this luggage, but we're still holding the field whilst other people are kind of getting ready. And again, this is all about also the activations we've been doing, just accreting more of our quanta, more of our light quotient, being able to hold and anchor more frequency, okay? So layer after layer of just any remaining dross and energetic blocks and all that so forth, so we can activate more of our DNA in our diamond rainbow light bodies, and the MERKABA activations that are coming online very powerfully now. So it's all part of that, but obviously if we can do this together, and that's where we want to be, we can be so much stronger. But ultimately, yeah, one of us is enough, because each one of us holds really all the codes to the whole of creation. It's all held within, one atom. So, and ultimately this is timeless. That's why we have to transcend all of these 3D, 4D boxes that are literally imaginary, because all of this is imagined and projected from within us in our consciousness. So it's not about time, it's about a shift in consciousness. This is what all of this is about. So I've been seeing for a while the big reset, what it's really about. It's a reset within a consciousness. So it's not about time, it's about frequency alignment. That's divine timing. So let go of time, go timeless, go limitless, go boundless. You are an eternal being of light. You're already ascended, and that's what we're accessing now. And it's the same for those, basically the parallel reality that is already available now, and many of us can feel an access, and we know it's there, and we're just waiting literally for divine timing, because ultimately, yeah, we're not in control here. It's not about our little ego selves, but I'm almighty bored. I can tell you that much. I'm so bored of these realities. It's like, oh my God, okay, we just need to move on now. We're done here, okay? We need to, that's the energy of the last 2 days. Like, we need expansion now. We need to go further, okay? And ready or not, we've waited really long enough. And that's all I can feel. And that's not even from the ego, because I know I feel collectively where we're at. Okay, and I felt many times when we were close over the last 6 months, especially when we were close to leaping, there was always this pushback. And any kind of perceived delay is always us aligning with a higher possibility and a higher, basically another mission upgrade. So you're always aligning, always fine-tuning, but it's always a co-creation of the one. So there's no one here as the boss, no one is in charge alone. It's all a co-creation, and all is happening at a higher level between us as, co-creation. But what I feel is that we are definitely at a frequency level now where enough of us are holding those new realities within their DNA, and they're about to ignite by divine will any moment now fully. We cannot just feel those realities around us, but we're also projecting them out from the inside out, because it will be ignited and are already being ignited of us remembering so much more, our higher identities, multidimensional self integrating so much more deeply, gifts, abilities, clarity, crystal clarity coming online, and the power, our remembering that we really here, we hold the keys and codes for the realities in our DNA. It's our film strip to the realities. So there's nowhere to go to now here, and we're projecting this from the inside out, okay? And I feel we're there any moment now, and that's what I'm holding, that's what I'm here for. But I will be, I think, shifting the way I write, because I'm bored of it, and I'm sure other people are as well. because I don't want to keep repeating what we don't need to keep repeating anymore. Also, it has to have the big purpose, as I've shared before. It's literally reprogramming our minds. So, of course, some of it will stay, but and I play with words also, and I'm not taking this too seriously, because ultimately, again, we're going beyond words now, and that's why it's so nice to connect beyond words. Okay, but whilst we're still using them a lot, we try our best. But ultimately, the voice is here for sounding and sound healing and singing. And we will be now moving to telepathic communication, where it's like a sort of a picture that's being transmitted with a whole information download. And that will also transcend a lot of the language barriers, difficulties, and just translation, lost in translation type things. Because as soon as language comes in, as I've shared many times before, it's you, me, them, all of that stuff, and it creates separation, past, present, and future, and all of these things. So that's just what we can transcend if we... Sorry, my cat just came and totally threw me off. Okay, just eat over there, stop meowing. Stop this. So I can't remember what I was talking about right now, but mainly what Ascension is about, what I think it is, and it's again not for this faint of heart, and it's really beyond spirituality for me. Mainly this is about taking responsibility, accountability for our co-creations with every word, thought, feeling, belief, every action we take, every creation, okay? Because everything is this. Everything we are every 30 seconds, so whether we are alone or whether we're interacting with anyone, anything is this. And everything is consciousness, no matter what it is, okay? So, and we need to walk that truth 100% of the time. And I'm fully aligned with the quantum leap and the new earth realities, although we can't see them just yet, but I know and feel them that they're there. I know that other people can feel it, that they're there now. And I believe we are enough to make this leap happen, that we are at the frequency to make this quantum leap happen. But the more can be on this quantum leap lightship, the better, okay? Because the quicker this goes, quite frankly. Because that's why I also do these activations, is we just anchor more light, it accelerates things, and it also makes it more easy. Yeah, let's rock. I mean, what do we have to lose? But I mean, don't try to build up any kind of false kind of nervous hype at all. Yes, I am kind of a cheerleader of trying to keep up the energy and the frequency and the vision, because it helps me. I know it helps other people. I know tenacity and continuity is very important in this, and it's daily work. And of course, we all have days where we might want to give up. I tried it a few times. It never has worked. Yeah, and so freaking bored. I can't even tell you. Since the full moon, at the full moon night, for hours, I was just watching something. I couldn't go over. My brain went, I'm so bored. I'm so bored. Oh my God, I'm so bored. And we had a few days of nice weather here. So nature and sunshine and the sea is like the only thing that is like kind of my happy place. And now it's gray again and all that crap. So it's like, we do our best, but yeah, so bored of all of this nonsense. And that's a good thing, because that's how we collapse all these drama timelines, because we're not even interested by it anymore. And that's what keeps it going. You need to see all the media, and also in spirituality, what's out there. This is a war over consciousness. This is a war over timelines. This equals realities. It's really all the same. Timelines equals realities equals consciousness. That's why I said it's not really about time. It's the consciousness. That's how you leap into a Gaian timeline of 12D and access, through the higher states of consciousness. But also, obviously, it's down to divine timing as in frequency alignment. But we've really transcended time the way I've seen it since the last galactic or cosmic new year at the end of July. And whether you believe in these states or not, or the Lion's Gate, whether you think it's a hype or not, I know what I've seen. There's always a collective focus of energies, and it's, if you tap into it, you can use it to your advantage one way or another. But I feel enough of us have now transcended the need for outside drama and needing to be fed this predictive programming, especially, through media. Obviously, it's all predictive programming. They need us and our codes and keys, and that's such an important part to understand, the keys and codes you carry and the power you carry, because they know, and they need your attention, your life force energy, your focus in order to manifest these timelines for them. So that's also when nothing is really, you can see collectively, you don't feel with all the fear crap narratives they're still trying to fling onto the screen. They're not really sticking. They're not having the same effect because everybody's been worn out. If you've watched the movie V for Vendetta, it's very fun. And I said this before, we're at the end of the movie, but, again, we're timeless here. Where, they're trying to have this fear propaganda, keep people in a state of fear so they can, oppose the control. And it's just not working anymore. And people are rising. And it's ultimately an inner rising. Ultimately, it's an inner frequency shift. It's a realization. It's a shift in consciousness, realizing the whole universe is you. You are responsible for your universe, each one of us. Once you realize you're responsible for your universe, the amount of accountability and responsibility you carry, you'll be very careful with what you say, write, think, feel, believe in. And you start to choose and you become very conscious of the programming and beliefs and thoughts you say and think and feel and all of that. But ultimately, it's in belief. Like over the last 2 days, also a huge heart opening. What has also happened was a lot of old programming I was shown and I was kind of aware of, but then not, obviously not fully, that there was still so much going on around relationships and around love and, just the kind of core wounds that we've been healing just now. For those that have finished that cycle and are done with all of this now, all these karmic lessons, then being confronted with those main fears again. And now it's like all the programming that held it together is dissolving because I'm going through it and I can see that being heard, for example, because a lot of us, there's been a huge warfare of obviously division, dividing also us within the spiritual community for divide and conquer tactics. And then you kind of end up afraid of connecting to anyone and, also through this psychic attacks and everything like this, where you don't feel safe connection with anyone kind of thing, taken to the extreme, but you're a lot more wary, like at the beginning of this ascension journey, you're like, butterflies and rainbows and unicorns, and then you're like going to the deepest depths of the dark arts training, where you believe, no, it's not so. And there are a lot of agendas, depending on who you are, of interference and really fuckery, as I call it, that takes place in so many levels that you really find yourself isolating to a certain degree. At least that's what I've been doing, although it's not so much a chosen isolation. It's more you're very picky, first of all, who you're connecting with. Then there are not so many people around you, likely, who you can connect with, because it's just not how the plan has been laid out until full ignition of the LIGHTSHIP any moment now. But until we get there, so in the last while, we had to kind of protect our energy, go in kind of a cave phase, integrate our multidimensional self without too much interference. But then we also, once we're really sovereign in our self and have felt all these pieces, then we feel like, okay, now I can, co-create in harmony together with others that are of same soul resonance. And I feel that's where we're at. But then what comes up is, what, in relationships, if we've been heartbroken before, all these kind of things. So as we then greeted with wanting to open up our hearts, which is happening at a mental level, a spiritual level, a physical level, again, to greater levels of love, because that's all about the heart, at least as I see it, of us being able to open and activate our heart space properly. So I know the background is not great. I just, we do what we have, and yeah, anyway. because this camera is different to the other one I use usually for the recording. So anyway, so it's all about the heart, and that's also where monadic integration right now is happening a lot. That's why I wanted to change the camera just to, it's also important, the high heart, where really the whole activations now, the Holy Spirit come in with the Amoarea activations I've mentioned before and shared about. It's really the Holy Spirit, the Father, Mother Arc, unifying as one, and then the plasma vapors and gases and liquid crystals light, really re-encrypting our whole morphogenetic field and light body. And so much is down to the heart. And what the opposition has been suffering from is called also black heart affliction. But we have also been affected through many different means over many eons and lifetimes of being hurt, and these divide and conquer tactics that have then pulled people apart and have divided people that should have stood together, especially in the spiritual community. Also, you can look up Essene divide. Many people will know of the Essenes. Back also connected to the Christ timelines. You can look it up on Ascension glossary, the website I often share. I might share the link later about the Essenes divide, so Essene. Anyway, that also upheld these Christic teachings, and we are quantum healing this, and it has really already happened at higher level, where there really has a freeway split in a way, the same as at the higher pre-meta level, where you have 3 primal sound and light fields of the gold ray, the blue ray, and the amethyst ray, and which come from the emerald ray. And basically these are also reflected, as I'm seeing it, in the Essene divide, and then also in the contemporary now divide within the spiritual community between different groups, where we should be standing together, but where it's like, because of the different beliefs held within the different spiritual teachings or what each believes in, there is then, you know, as soon as you believe or say something that's contradictory, like false light, and you're, you know, whatever, part of the NAA, negative alien agenda, or whatever else. So yeah, it's a rich tapestry, and that's what I had to deal with a lot. It's this whole division at the highest level also of the spiritual leadership and priesthood that we have to heal, which we're healing from all levels and layers, and which is also reflected in our own family dynamics often. And so that's what we've also been healing a lot of the family divide, because that's what really comes back to, is also to Lyra, to the, again, all of these wars and splits. So you have 5D is the Tara, 5D Earth is called Tara, and then you have 7D Gaia, and then you have Aramantina or Lyra, which is Ascension Earth, the 12D. And all of these layers basically had different layers or wars happening at different times, but ultimately it's all happening simultaneously in the quantum. Okay, so we've been with all of the timeline repair work and Stargate repair work and grid repair work that's been going on for many, many eons, and so many layers to it, but ultimately it's all quantum. Okay, it's all happening now. And we have healed these different layers, and there's so many different versions of our Earth, parallel Earth and inner Earth and all of that. Now, whatever you may believe in, what I see is we're ending up with one version of Earth, and there's no more of this multidimensional timeline bleed through. And because this is also happening at a micro level with our own field and our own consciousness and our own multidimensional selves. So, and I've been shown this at many different layers and ways of that's what we are accessing, and it's really quantum. And not many people are talking about it yet. They're still very linear about all of this and talking in cycles and so forth. But I want to say this is a timeline war. It's about realities and consciousness. It's the same thing. Transcend time. Time is the only thing the opposition has. We are eternal. They are not. Unless they want to align with the Christ and, you know, a 12D blueprint. Okay? It's the only way. You need to reconnect back to source. So the option is there. Many are choosing it. Some are not. I see the last call has gone out, this is already done, and we're going full steam ahead in any moment now. This is beyond choice now, really. I mean, obviously it's always quantum choice now, but we're done. So, and all we really have to do, of those that feel this, that notice that I feel the change and notice this is done, is keep holding the vision, holding the frequency. Yes, surrender, let it all go, of course, but also know when you are here to share and, do something in the physical or whichever way. But a lot of this is right now really collapsing the quantum standing wave in the 0 point field for the old realities to fully collapse in neutrality, divine love, because we're not being triggered by anything anymore, because we see through all the illusions. We have integrated our multidimensional self enough for all of our memories now to come online, which is what shifts the realities. Because you see, again, this is the film strip, our DNA. And that's what we're activating. And then we dream a whole new dream into reality, which is done through us becoming empty, pure vessels for source. It's not about your little ego mind trying to figure it all out. It's really becoming empty, and then God will show you and fulfill you and show you the way. That's what I see. It's really about, and this is, you don't need to do no course, nothing for it. Everybody can do it. It's timeless. You don't need a long time for it. Who knows how quickly someone can quantum jump. Some of us that had been, quite quick awakenings or kind of walk-in experiences know very quickly you can activate a whole lot of DNA. But then obviously you also need to clear out a lot of stuff. But again, a lot of us have already accreted a lot of these higher strands of DNA and are ready for full activation. We're holding the Templar, so the blueprint also for this to happen at planetary level. So enough of us activating at that level fully now, from 10 to 15D, okay, which is the Avatar and Rishi, so like Ascended Master levels, in form, all right, quantum style, because you're quantum timeline travelers. That's why I keep saying these things, to remind you there is no time. So transcend time, space, gravity, okay? And merge with source. Just become empty. There's nothing to hold on to. You need to transcend the artificial ego self. That's what this is about. Just transcend, let go of your false self, all that you are not, all the programming. That's the mission in itself, really. And align with your true self. And then you know God. And then you're at one with everything. And then nothing lies outside of you. You know you are that powerful to stop all wars. But yeah, it's a collective undertaking. That's why we want to have as many on board as possible with the highest possible outcome in timelines, realities that are outside of time. Okay? We're quantum aligning, leaping with that reality, which is a frequency that we hold. It's a consciousness. That's a consciousness. It's a unity consciousness. It's a cosmic consciousness. It's online. It's there. I can see the bliss and the love, so much energy coming in. And yes, this can bring up, again, old wounds and heartbreak or whatever else, and wherever everybody's at a different stage, and there's never anything wrong with you. Another one thing, a major paradigm shift is to shift from when we have, light upgrades basically coming in, of instead of saying or thinking and feeling we are sick, that we're actually healing and we're upgrading. That will get rid of a whole lot of resistance, and that also allows your body to heal more quickly and to integrate what's coming in, the codes, the upgrades, and all of that stuff. And that makes it go quicker, and you're not there, because fear is the worst thing for your well-being, and relaxation is so important for your whole nervous system throughout this journey. The more relaxed you can be, the easier multidimensional integration is, and the more your nervous system can heal, because a lot of attacks have also been on the nervous system. So keeping us in these artificial frequencies and states of fear, obviously, which makes you unhealthy. So, and I do believe that, mental, any physical ailment, we can, go deeper if you want to really go to the root cause. It is at a mental, emotional level that we can repair, and also energetically, these things. And we are really accessing now the higher technology where we can regrow our own limbs and so forth. A little note on this, inner technology, those that have, I think read, probably it was an update a while ago, on me talking about tooth trouble. So I had a back tooth taken out was not fun. The whole process was traumatic. Then a few days later, I found out that there was still some of the root left. And I was like, okay, I don't want to go back to the dentist. I also need to let it heal first. And I really was working with my body intelligence and its own healing capabilities in order to heal that. And it did happen. About 10 days later, it came out itself. It was really interesting. I was thinking, as if it was like white pus or something on top of it, like as if, part of an infection. And I kind of just lifted it, and it was just like, I could just lift it out. It was very interesting. So that one is done. I do still need more dentistry done, but I really am looking forward to going to next level, multidimensional dentistry, please, because this 3D dentistry really, really sucks. And you can't even book anyone for like a month. So anyway, and I mean, I had this with many other things, the same with healing chambers that we can already access multidimensionally, what many talk about as meth beds. I see them in the future, or the future now, already available. Again, at the etheric level, you can already choose to access your healing chambers. And I see them in the future as very much crystal healing chambers. So nothing really of the artificial technology that we have had. Just one more note on, I know I'm behind certain comments as well, especially on YouTube. And sorry guys, certain days and times I just can't take too much in, and I kind of go in and out. And the same now, I don't know how much I will be able to read. So I want to give, what I do is I just finish the update, and then at the end I will just give a quick update of the 2 activations in more detail for the ones that have taken part in the remote activations. Okay, so again, powerful. This video is kind of part of it anyway, but genuinely powerful Lotus Crystal Heart and Diamond Rose Heart activations taking place. Again, they're bringing anything up at a mental, emotional, physical level around the heart. Love, grief, maybe sadness still stuck, also that we carry a lot of the depression and anxiety. I feel generally a lot since the Stargate alignment from the Lion's Gate, I feel a lot more aligned and calmer. And although it's been, kind of heavy lifting energetically this last week, especially overall, much deeper level of relaxation. I finally feel like I'm having a normal type of appetite again, where I would before have always an underlying sense of anxiety. And just the frequencies, because people that are very highly sensitive find it, almost impossible to be happy in this kind of reality. Quite frankly, anyone, who thinks like they can't adjust, you're not supposed to adjust. People that are adjusting are not healthy. Okay, because you would need to be not healthy in order to adjust to the false, fake, artificial systems that are out there. So you're not supposed to adjust. Each person, first of all, needs to make this work for themselves. So there's no right and wrong way to go about it. I would not say you need to give everything up, okay? But some people might need to, and are guided to, like me, to go all the way to transcend all the 3D programs out there, okay, that we do come across. But ultimately, you need to figure this out for yourself. And you can still be somewhat, doing, for example, a 3-day job and still bring all of your spiritual self into it. I would just choose one where you can be your true self, if possible, as much as possible. Okay, so you can stand in full integrity, because this is what brings the multidimensional self online, standing in your truth. And where you need to adjust in order to do that, that's an issue. That's really what I would say to that. But ultimately, you standing in your true self, authentically speaking your truth, whenever you're called, doesn't mean you need to press your truth in every situation, but you get me. That's you being in full alignment, really. Okay, what naturally will come to you, not what you think you should be saying or doing or thinking and feeling, what's naturally coming to you, but also from a sense of you are a mature, responsible adult now. That's another thing that actually came for all these divine union activations. For the last couple of days, this feeling of, oh, I'm an adult now, like for the first time, because most of us are really ultimately like kids stuck in grown-up bodies, and obviously the adults haven't got it all so figured out. But this whole integration, multidimensional integration, that's what this is about. So becoming fully integrated as your multidimensional self. And that's you really fully aligned with your true self and higher identities. And that frequency of truth, and that's also clarity, is what really brings everything else online. That's really what we have to do here all. And again, there are so many different ways about it, you know. But don't get lost in kind of just sitting there and, sorry, I don't know, always this itchy nose. Can't remember what I want to say now. Now it's gone for the itchy nose. But yeah, it's really deprogramming ourselves from the matrix, all the programming, all the societal bullshit, all the boxes that kind of put on us, okay, and work through them. Does this make sense? What you believe in and think, and who you even are? Because most of us are copies from our environment until we fully transcend all this nonsense and find our true self. The core is always the same, but you know, it's the same when we go into relationships where we're not fully sovereign. Often we tend to change ourselves, you know, for the other. And of course, there will always be certain attunements to one another whenever we are in any kind of relationships, or, you know, whenever we talk with people, you know, with each person, you are a little bit different often. You know what I mean? Depending on the relationship you have with them. So there are always attunements that happen, but you shouldn't give up your true, authentic self ever again in order to be liked, not rejected, in order to fit in order to feel you belong, and not just totally left alone by the whole of creation, which is what we kind of have been facing, okay? Sometimes you also feel left alone by God, which is really just because we can't fully hear, because we're like stuck in frequencies of fear, and then we can't really access that place within us. And that place is inside of our high heart, that permanent God seed, cosmic seed atom, that's really your God source within. And now we're radiating that out, and instead of just being the hoovers and like clearing all the energies through us, it's really also us just radiating it out and blasting it all out into our realities and overwriting the lower frequencies. So all this crap cannot get to you anymore. And we are not afraid anymore of getting close to people, opening ourselves up, making connections, co-creating together. Because now we know we can manage it all, we can master it all. Ultimately, any kind of heartbreak and all that stuff, if I now come across any kind of it being triggered and all the programming, it's literally programming. Our mind hasn't perceived it correctly, the reality. And that's with the shift in perceptions where we heal. It's not time. You can be, for example, heartbroken or broken over losing someone for 10, 20 years and not really move on, okay, and still carry all that energetic density with you. It might even get worse, and you're bitter, and you keep closing your heart up, which is not going to help you ascend. It's the opposite. That's why we have been so targeted around the heart, because it won't make you able to ascend. So opening the heart, opening ourselves up to love, opening ourselves up to connection, after we had to heal all of this and had to like put the barriers down and the hatches a little bit for a while, is now really important. But we also have now the discernment to read people better. We also will not take it personally anymore if someone is rejecting us or as being not so nice. Okay? Because it's not about us, ultimately, what another person does or not. And that's what we had to learn. So once we have that figured out, we will not get back to these places. Yes, you might be disappointed by someone or even hurt, but it's not going to shatter your reality anymore. Okay? That's sovereignty, because we give everybody to freedom. And again, we won't take things personally anymore. And that's literally healing and shifting the perception of what's really happened to us, because it's all been co-created by us, everything. We're never the victim, always co-creating. And yes, we also needed to own the victim and own the persecutor that we all have within us. Okay, a lot of me, what I had to do over the last while has been transcending my frustration of lack of support of kind of the numbers in the field. And I know I do get a lot of, people supporting me, so I shouldn't be complaining. But obviously, with all the work I put in and everything, I would, always like it to be more. Not that it's a numbers game, but I could feel in the activations this week, there is just not the numbers there that have been before. I can feel it. It's like as if you have to carry more. It's like, oh my God, come on. Do I need to be like, hello, anyone in the field? Hello, are we going to do this? Hello, where are the dragons? Where are we? All right. We are here to do this. And it's like as if I have to like beg and scream and shout from the rooftops and nobody's listening or not enough people. That's what it felt like. So that's what I had to transcend, to then reconcile this within, in case you are feeling that to a certain degree or not. That ultimately it's only me that needs to anchor these codes and activate and know my truth and fully believe in it with a pure frequency, ultimately. And I'm saying this as in this is the truth for anyone of what anybody gets and they're carrying and holding, okay? But obviously it's also the case of the easier and quicker this gets. So it's a both ends. So I had to just own it all. And if people think I'm complaining or whatever, I don't really care. Ultimately, my job is to speak from my heart, speak my truth. And that truth is not always what people want to hear. I'm not here to tell just people that everything is great, you're just great. And although that is also the case, but it's also, hey, people, come on. We also need to do this in order to get there and there. This is not just done by us listening to people on YouTube or Facebook or reading channelings or what has happened or even activations and all that. It's ultimately within the discipline and really devotion to Ascension and what we're here for, and understanding and reclaiming our power of every word, thought, feeling, creation, action we take. All right. And yes, that probably I will keep going on until it's paradise all around us, okay? Because I'm bored. I want to move on here. And yes, we also need the support from the field to a certain extent. And this has also always brought me back to the Lemurian timeline, because this is what's happened there as well. And I've shared this before, and that's what I've been healing and reconciling now with, okay, as long as I'm doing this, it's fine. So I get it, it's kind of, I need to transcend it. But again, it's multidimensional. It feeds into these other timelines. And this will be true for us all, where we have themes going on. And they might trigger a lot or for a long time. And you're like, oh, why so long, or another layer or whatever. But these are your core wounds that you're here to heal. And they might be triggered in certain ways, but it goes way deeper than what's unfolding in front of you right now. That's what I want to say. So another thing, and I think I said this was then with the trust, which would be another core wound of mine. It's really, as long as we understand that other people, first of all, not have the expectation, or just to be okay with people attacking you, basically. Okay? With knowing that obviously nobody's perfect, all right? You might get one day into where, your shadow's overtaking you and you will be at someone. Okay, and yes, it's nice if we can apologize after. Obviously, that helps. But nobody's perfect, so do not expect perfect. That would be number one. Okay, have realistic expectation. Know the weaknesses of the people around you. So then also you will be less likely to be disappointed. Know your own weaknesses as well. Again, this is not about being perfect and not having any kind of weaknesses. It's about alchemizing them and also knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. That's what I believe. And to basically don't take it personally, because then it's like just, well, you're kind of having a go at here anyway, yeah? But you also have your boundaries and you also have your standards, because obviously we want to have people around us that get us, that support us. But what for me is very important, that people really can own their shadows, those that you really are closely connected to. So that, you can feel safe being yourself in the environment, and nobody is perfect here, but we can own up to what is ours, because then we grow together and we can expand. That's just really helpful. So that's how I reconcile this for me. And also with lack of support that many may be feeling, ultimately a lot of it is down to people can only be as honest to you as they're honest to themselves. And they also can only meet you where they're meeting themselves. So people are disconnected from themselves, cannot connect to us properly. It's just not possible. So we need to understand really where people are at, and at certain things that just cannot give us from where they're at. And that's fine, and we don't need to, again, take it personally, because it's not about us. It's about that just can't give us what we really need. But it's also us calling forth those people who can give this to us, because it is important that we come together as groups, or people connecting, because we're so much more powerful together. And the agenda has been to divide us, and we will just be very aware of this, and to now really open up our hearts and our minds to the new realities and access them in whichever way we feel called to, and just understand where everybody has been at. And people have not been able to clearly think, especially for themselves, because of all the program, because all the conditioning, and we know how hard it is to transcend all of this stuff. So let's just keep this in mind. But it's truly all lifting now. The whole AI net, it's all done. I mean, we had many levels of this over the last 6, 9, 10 months, something like that, where different parts to the grids, all these grid projects have been basically completed now. 12D target system and the 13D grid, diamond grid network, is online. So I would really implore you all, keep connecting, keep anchoring more light, keep seeing your whole light body lighting up. Talk to your DNA. Light language is beautiful for this. Sound healing is beautiful for this, helping you generally just help heal, balance, harmonize, and upgrade and activate your field with your own voice as well, okay? Not just from other people. So that's all really I had to say about this part. If there are any questions, I'm not going to go into the chat again. So if you wanted or had asked a question, please do it now again. Otherwise, I come back later if I can and answer them later on. So I just wanted to give a quick update of the last 2 activations, and then we are done for now. It's been long enough already listening to my bubbling. I hope it has helped. So the activations from the 19th, I could really feel we're really freeing our one true self. So really at like an energetic level, like just, it's all just like for days now, we're like these disco balls, and also at the planetary level of diamond white light that's really purifying, clearing all these layers and levels that are remaining. And again, for each one, it's slightly different things. So I'm just speaking generally what is highlighted to me in each activation. And again, everybody gets slightly different viewpoints or insights. But basically the freeing of ourselves, so from any old beliefs and thought forms, which is the old programming of the fear matrix. And that's really what transcends all the false realities as well. So that's really at the core of much of what I do, say, share in all levels and ways. So also the cords, the hooks, the attachments, especially at astral levels. And again, what I share here, this is all coming also in collectively. So we're all being affected by this, okay? To one level or another. It's just when you take part in the activations, you get a whole upgrade to your system, and clearing, balancing, harmonizing, upgrading, just in a more deeper layer, and you will be anchoring more, of the frequencies and codes and lights available. But again, each one, I always make the highest intention, your higher levels, team, sources in charge, because obviously I can't be aware of fully everything, everyone all at once, what's happening individually, of everybody gets what they need to get and is able and ready for, okay? So we also don't overload people with frequencies, and always ask, or you are in charge, you can always disconnect or ask to make it less intense if it's intense, and so forth. And the experiences, as with any kind of energetic healing work, can differ from person to person, from activation to activation. It is for me as well. And this week has been a lot about just really this whole sludge, this kind of the reversal plasmas and all the remaining AI artificial materials, the structures. It's the whole architecture, dual architecture within our own fields, and then at the planetary level. But there's a lot of, again, we go through the same type of layers again and again. So there's a lot of repetition, and I'm not going to repeat myself as much anymore. It's like when I've said it once, especially as a part of series of activations, even if you take, just part in a few of these days, you might want to read the feedback of the other sessions, which I also post underneath in the discussion page of each event, okay, just to keep a little bit of the record and people can access it maybe more easily, also because of shadow banning and nonsense like that. Anyway, and they're also, and even if you haven't taken part, they really act as activations in themselves. Everything I write has a certain frequency attached to it. It's really like automatic writing what I do. So it really activates anything I share in writing and also speaking. So anyway, now, so clearing remaining any density, reversals, lower codings, and connections, anything that might have still held us connected to old artificial matrix hologram. Also a lot coming up on cloned identities, so clone, cyborg, artificial light forms, material systems, synthetic life forms, structures, AI holographic inserts and overlays. Okay, so fully dissolving all its inorganic and artificial, that's been the main focus of everything lately. And also a lot we will have coming in the activations through our crown, also felt in the neck and back of your head, and also helping us with the opening of our third eye and the whole, it's a whole cosmic headset and galactivations that are taking part, connecting to the back of our head, pineal pituitary, hypothalamus, crown and high heart as well. I'm bringing this all online, and also our galactic remembering and connection to the higher dimensional layers and levels. So we had a lot of CNN class flares that have been supporting us, and we really have been encoding these also as they are being released from the sun and come in, and also as geomagnetic or solar wind energies and cosmic rays and so forth. Many of us can feel them as they leave the sun in the moment as they happen. And we always do this, really. I always find when solar flares go off, it's a great time to manifest. I often am guided to do grid work intuitively without even knowing one goes off. And we also had a lot of solar filaments releasing, and this has been accumulative. We had a whole week of this. We really just now being able to fully starting to access or more fully integrate this, okay, of all that's come available. And it's very much helping DNA activations and the whole, really a lot of healing of our plasma light bodies has happened. And then also thing yesterday was the clearing of any remaining seals and membranes that has really kept us from accessing high levels of DNA, and also being part of the quarantine, but really at a DNA level, also for security purposes, as well as part of the interference. So big focus on the activation, also through the DNA activations of the extrasensory gifts, abilities, power, wisdom, psychic abilities, teleporting by location, multiple location, telekinesis, levitation, healing, manifestation. Huge activations also to building wings. So part of the light body damage that we had is that literally our wings got cut off. So this has been healing. So that's part of the wing repair also. And I could really literally feel them like at the back of me, like etheric wings, really opening and ready to, like, I could feel them basically doing this motion. So yeah, so really go within to access these abilities, what's coming online. Again, everybody's at a different place. Never compare yourself to anyone. Everybody has their own experience and perception of reality, especially once you understand the quantum, okay? Nobody here has the exact same experience and perception of reality, all right? So remember this. So we don't need to really argue over these silly little things we sometimes do. So rest and silence is, has been a big theme. Self-care has been a big theme, but also balancing, integrating our multidimensional self, all of us, all of our parts, okay, all the time has to be fully aligned with our true self. That's what it's about, whatever that means for you. So whatever you are being in every moment, not so much what you are doing. That's really important here. The consciousness you embody, the frequency, okay? And that doesn't mean you're always just happy. No, it really doesn't. But it means that even when you're going through hard times, it's all okay. You're just working through it, and you just keep holding the vision, and you know that it's not worse and just more, although sometimes it feels like that. But you get me. It's also about really understanding that it's, the same as when we're not well. It's like the same as we feel disempowered, let's say. It's like, okay, then afterwards, after all these feelings, and maybe feelings in my solar plexus, and feelings of, oh, I can't change anything, or whatever it may be, and thought patterns and all of that coming up. But then I know once I can just let it come up and out and purge, at the other end, I feel so much more empowered. So just be fully aware of your process. And then you can, again, there's nothing wrong with you. It's not getting worse. You're just going deeper and you're understanding more. And then if you can see it from a different perspective, that's what it allows it to release and clear for you, because you got the lesson and you got the message. That's what it's really all about. It's all about experience. Yeah. So that's why we need to just kind of see it from this perspective, and then we don't have the resistance to any of the not so fun experiences, whether it's mental, emotional, physical. It needs to clear. This is all the crap, all the density that we're letting go of, that we can't take with us, and it needs to come up and out. So if you can see it as something positive, all the stuff transcends and leaves and clears much quicker. That's why it's important to have that paradigm shift and perception shift of nothing wrong with you, you're not sick, it's just clearing, really. It's just clearing. So, and you feel better afterwards. If you can keep saying that to you and remember that and don't forget, better. Why are you saying hello, echo? Do I have an echo on my microphone? Just let me know in case that is the case. But I think that's not what it's meant. So again, all this powerful clearing of air materials, signals within, without, mother archetypes, mental stargate activations, overstepping the old artificial grid and frequency nets, all fully dissolving and being neutralized with also all the negative alien machinery that's also connected to, again, what we hold in our bodies and the seals, and that then also connect to the mind control. Okay, and it's all clear and collectively. And again, we are often the first ones to clear this and integrate and anchor this, and then it goes out in the collective, but this is really a collective undertaking, okay? And at a higher level, people pick up on this in the field or not, depending on what their soul choice is. But many people are not aware of what's going on, obviously. But that's another thing I just want to say one more time. That's why it's so important. We go beyond and we spend time in meditation and spend tapping into our gifts and abilities that go beyond this 3D and the 5 senses we have, because that's what Ascension is also about, of you accessing this. This is what brings the new realities online. You using your gifts and abilities, that's you accessing and activating your DNA, multidimensional DNA. Okay, if you don't, then it's dormant. And that's what also activates then the new organic Ascension Earth realities that, again, we hold in our blueprints, okay? And then just literally ignite from the inside out, all right? And it's all about alignment, and it's all about you keep connecting with those higher levels and integrating, merging them with whatever way you are being guided to. As we complete this reset and quantum time and reality shift back to the future, literally where the invasions and foreign consciousness never happened. So that's what we're doing. So it's literally like, as I've often said before, like waking up from a dream and just remembering again our true self, our natural essence, and really aligning with that. And this is what brings everything else online. So it's all from the inside out. So the core is really quite simple, but we can make this as complicated as we want to. Just don't get lost in the separation, compartmentalization. That's all I can say. And especially now, as I said before, just let it all go. Let Source literally show you, because if we think, feel, behave, act the same way as we've always done, we will get the same realities. That's also the Groundhog Day thing, which I have now that feeling transcended, although we still see the same realities. It doesn't feel like Groundhog Day anymore, because I don't feel the same anymore. And we just know it's literally just a question of time where everything fully ignites now, because we're done here. We're done. RNA, DNA activation, quantum time codes, overwriting the fire letters that are bringing this multidimensional one organic creatrix field, as I see it online, where we don't have the crazy multiverse anymore. So it's one field, one creatrix field with many different areas to it, but still it will not be, as we've seen before, we have all the fragmentation and, timeline breakthroughs. This is again about all these incarnational self. We want to fully access and incarnate now in one consciousness that is aware of itself and all of its parts and aspects. That's what we're doing, okay? So again, that's the divine template, the highest DNA template of the 144, plus 3 as 1. That's what we anchor in here. Triple helix DNA, which is also really unified as one, as it's also representative for the 3 timelines or 2 timelines that unify as one, because we're collapsing all of this into really a no time space, and it's no more timeline, it's just an organic creative experience outside of time. Okay, it's totally different. That's all I want to say again on this, and to transcend time, please, if we can. Balance. We balance, harmonize, and merge and unify as one. Also right and left brain, again, integrating into whole brain state, pineal and pituitary glands. Also your hypothalamus, they also create like a triangle and trinity. And activation, higher and lower self, masculine, feminine, heaven and earth, or heaven on earth as one through us in our activation of those 12 dimensional plus frequency. Okay, those that are here for this, all right, that this resonates with. So way beyond 5D, people. We keep being fulfilled and surrounded by much healing energy and divine love, especially from the divine mother frequencies. And so intense mother arc energy, especially since yesterday coming in loads and also helping us heal our third eye. I feel it coming in right now for the last 10 minutes or so, and also into our heart. Metatronic reversals are clearing out of the field, also through the diamond platinum grid activations. And this is really, it's also shifting the fields to the diamond grid alignments of a 45-degree angle instead of the metatronic flower of life geometry of 60 degrees. Okay, that's the difference there. If you want to look up diamond grid in Ascension glossary. Then also Räusche and Aurora Pillars activations, also connected with the 12D template. Powerful diamond grid activations continue to build up and be in frequency and light quotient. As I said, we look like beautiful disco balls, and the diamond white flame, and also the hydroplasmic light infusions. Really, it just keeps flushing the meridians. It keeps clearing out all the remaining muck and miasma and density from the fields within and without. Again, as we do this and we hold the Templar also of the planet in our fields, we do this for the planet as well. So the more of us that can do this, the quicker this goes on all levels, because we're truly all one and all interconnected. So really, the most important thing right now is to keep claiming your knowing, wisdom, believe in your visions, messages, signs, and dreams, because believing is seeing. This is what ignites it, okay? This is what brings all of this online, especially when it comes to our gifts. So keep shining bright. Also rest. It's all about balance, okay? Give from an overflowing cup. That's always the best way. I really just share whatever I'm guided to. I never share out of any other reason, but I also know my responsibility and what I'm here for, what I'm here to hold, and the effect what I share has on the field. So I use that power very responsibly, but I also need and have learned to balance that with enough rest and downtime to not burn myself out. And we all need to obviously have that. But each person has so many different, things they have to work on for themselves. So what I have to work on, obviously another person might not have that issue, for example, okay? So whatever your imbalance is, whatever you can see is the imbalance, maybe in the field or in your own person, try to go there and bring more balance in. That's really also part of the polarity integration. It's all about balance, okay? Integrating, unifying everything through the oneness, through the 0-point field, through the neutrality, through the compassion and the love, and understanding and integrating the whole in the oneness through our own perception, where nothing is anymore at odds or imbalanced as much in our fields. But it's a constant fine-tuning, it's a constant purification, fine-tuning, expansion, and also certain contractions that are part of our expansion in consciousness. And ultimately, again, the eternal self is always accessible and the time is now, you know, and it's not even so much as an evolution, although it feels like it. More like a remembering. So I saw us also on the 19th at the end holding hands in a circle surrounding Earth. So, you know, kind of as if expanded outside of Earth and kind of in a ring also with other angelics and galactics. And we were laughing and full of celebratory energy because we knew it was done and the party is on. Okay, so that's where we're at. We keep aligning with that. Whilst we just let go of all that's still, you know, a little bit maybe heavy, and just keep knowing it's done. Okay, and ultimately that's how you quantum leap. And then, I mean, obviously all the limiting programming or fears or worries that may come up, whilst you align with that frequency and knowing in that reality, it's just part of it. And just know it for what it is. Okay, ultimately it's about transcending all the programming that prevents you from that purity of frequency of being there now, of being there and that already. Okay. So again, also this is a lot about, you know, reclaiming our eternal God source codes and also backflow return, perpetual energy flows, also grandmother turtle codes. I leave maybe link to that beneath, that might be of interest to some to read upon. Or you can again Google it, and not Google it, like an Ascension glossary, the website. You can look up grandmother turtle codes, and it's basically connect with the mother's perfect proton seed, or what people know as the cosmic egg, and really our creation blueprint, our core source codes, okay, and that we have reclaimed and bringing. That's what's healing all right now, and a lot of that is also connected to the Lemurian timeline and the Ayani priesthood and the mother line. Okay, that goes back to Mu. And that we have been reclaiming and healing all of these wounds of the mother that we are in us all. I just want to say quickly on the last Giza activation, the activation I did, I know we're going into the Queen's chamber in the pyramids. You can, of course, also, if you're a man, go into the King's chamber, for example, or if you're a woman, if you believe that the Stargate is there, not in the Queen's chamber, whatever you may believe in, it works for you, okay? But ultimately, this was also much about us reclaiming the mother within us all and these pure source codes that she also carries and that we all hold. So we all first and foremost feminine, but then also masculine, but the feminine births all. She births and is the Trinity. She is the masculine and feminine, like the Sophia, or the Christus Sophia, or the Chrysa Sapphira. Whatever name you may resonate with, is a new androgynous blueprint of masculine and feminine, and also divine child, so the Holy Trinity as the oneness, though, because a lot of what I see is the soul Trinity being replaced by the oneness, okay? But it's a both ends, okay? So we still have the Trinity, but it's really unified with the oneness. And you do not have, again, the split between the three in the division that is kind of pulling the boat in different directions, if that makes sense energetically. Because you have this, I sense it in the field, and it's really been a reconciliation of the one consciousness as we work through the programming and all our conflicts that we might have within or with other people. It's all part of it. And as we work through these family issues or things we have with other people, you heal this within the field. That's why it's really everything is this. Everything we heal within ourselves, we help heal all. Literally, that's the sacred work we all share. So yesterday's activation, before there was a lot of pressure that always also comes in, and I feel now as well, starting getting tired, or there's a lot of pressure that may come in through the crown. So also just a reminder that high frequency energy can also feel very heavy at times. I can sing a few songs about this, okay? So it doesn't just always feel light, all right? And again, a lot of this is also remaining clearings and activations and DNA activations also. They can make us feel achy. And as we were releasing the AI implants and also the seals, also from our bone matrix, literally you can feel like pain in the bones or bone tired, and you just need to know that that's a lot of the high frequencies coming in. Also the DNA activation is not just the clearing, okay? That's making you feel maybe achy and tired and all of that. So as usual, salt baths, nature, earthing, all that supports and helps. We're working also a lot with diamond star MERKABAs. I always see them in our third eye, heart, and our field. Okay, just as a reminder. Also, you can, as I mentioned last time, work with and it's called the octahedron shape, which is the diamond shape. And basically, yeah, a lot of the further opening of our third eye, crown, solar star, galactivations, really all part of that. The pineal and pituitary gland, the hypothalamus, building a triad, and also part of the activating and healing and rebuilding of our wings. So it's all really coming online, these higher levels, okay, and healing those also of 7, 8, 9, 10 and beyond. And these also relate to these kind of timelines in Tara or Gaia, and that we might have had incarnations, okay? So depending on how many incarnations you have and how busy you've been, you have just more to clear and activate. So we bring all this online together with the 360 degrees crystal clear vision. And I see the energies generally many days. Everything is much more crystalline, everything is much more crisp, everything seems much more alive. Then we have days in between, as again more clearing, but generally I feel a big shift in how the energies and the realities look and feel like. Okay, even though it still looks almost the same, but it doesn't, if that makes sense. Okay, and that's also part of these activations and upgrades coming online. So powerful mother arc infusions, assisting the overall healing of our physical, mental, emotional, spiritual bodies. And that's also a lot of white, blue light that will come in that you might be aware of. Also, that's the 13-dimensional light coming through the 13 gate. It's also very much connected to the 13-dimensional grid system that we're activating. Also connect very much to the kind of Lemurian timelines and frequencies. Healing and opening and activations of our emerald, sacred crystal, lotus, and diamond rose heart continue as we may feel. Holy heart activations. And yeah, and all this really, again, I can implore, and that's what I keep seeing us as disco balls, loads of diamond white light in our fields, also rainbow liquid plasma light. Okay, plasma is fire water. Okay, so it's liquid light. And it's really burning through any remaining residue of karmic density, energetic blocks, miasma, attachment, entities, lower codings, reversals, all that's false and artificial, all that stuff. Okay, I've said it and written it many times before. It's gone, 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 done, done, done. All right, until it's just paradise all around us. Literally, all it's about is just clearing all that nonsense out and activating all new, and we are pretty good to go. Enough of us to shift it around for us collectively, because this has already been kind of done for a few months. But again, we're clearing it out. And I also see this is beyond the solar flare, okay? Because it's a full reset of the one consciousness. So powerful crystallization, DNA, diamond, rainbow, plasma light upgrades, MERKABA, light body, all of that good stuff, clearing of meridians, nadis, axial tonal lines, energetic pathways within our interplanetary body. That's also very much been helped by our cosmic Christic dragon aspects, okay? Let them ignite and clear the planetary ley lines, which are also your meridians and energetic lines, all connected again to remaining limiting thought forms, false memories, projections, beliefs, especially around how reality works, religious, spiritual beliefs, any remaining doubts, fears, insecurities, lack of confidence and self-love, because that's really what keeps us from manifesting that which we know is really our higher levels dreaming through us, okay? And nothing's outside of us. So it's not even about manifesting, it's about projecting out now what we know we are already within, deep within. So we continue to hold, anchor, and accredit more higher frequency, light quotient, quantum, and reclamation of all remaining keys and codes and memories now through the completion, as we fully return to true history, tribal records, and with the freedom and abundance, it's all really the same, it's all interconnected to humanity. That's what we're here for. And we do this as we fully reclaim and know and remember our power now, okay? Now let's do that. Crystal Cathedral network activations. Crystal Cathedral network activations. Platinum diamond grid activations. More Roish and Aurora pillar. pillars and the 12 pillars of man activations. Yeah, that's it. More of the same again and again. Let's keep doing it. I'm gonna go offline now. It's 21:44 here. And we're going live with the remote activation in 50 minutes. Yes, blurry eyes are very much part also of the activations, and coming online for the eyes. I also have that sometimes a lot. And just also things like déjà vus and so forth can often be it's just a confirmation of you haven't been here kind of before. That's what I often see. It's kind of like something is locking in. It's like, okay, so we corrected kind of a timeline. Maybe there was something, where you kind of jumped onto a timeline or said something or corrected something. And then we often have a feeling of déjà vu. That's what I often see. So I come back to the comments another time. I don't think there was any questions as such, because I just saw kind of on the side that anyone else hearing these energies on and off like static above the clouds? Above the clouds? You mean static frequencies. So I often hear the stargates also. It depends also on your abilities of what you hear. People can sometimes hear activations, but a lot of what sometimes people would refer to as titanus type sensations is, matter, your dark matter body or Russia body. It's all part of sound and light fields. So before we are physicalized, we are sound and light, we're gases and vapors. So we haven't had access to the full range of sound and light. That's why we can't see the higher dimensions and we can't hear fully. And that's all part of what's coming online. So yes, this is a big part of, I don't hear silence ever. Because there's always some kind of sound that's coming in, just different, intensity of it. So anyway, I'll come back to other comments later. I hope you're doing well. I hope this has helped. Join us in the remote activation if you like. So literally just for meditation. The links are below. If you want to take part just for an hour or longer if you want. And also no time. It's really 24/7 open. And just keep, if nothing else, if you want to take part or not, just keep visualizing you have now or organic ascension realities, whatever that means for you. Okay, it's more of a frequency and a feeling than so much as specifics, and let the rest be shown to you and ask for guidance. Connect with your higher levels, connect with your heart, connect with your soul, connect with spirit. That's what we're here for, and all the answers really lie within. Okay, we can't really get this wrong. Don't be afraid to get it wrong, but also, again, this is about a mix of discipline and surrendering. We also are here to make it happen. It's both ends. And it's about us figuring out when we just let it all go and when we're like going for it. Okay? It's both. So thank you so much all for tuning in. Thank you for being here now. Thank you for holding the vision and the frequency and being the change. And yeah, love you so much. So much love, many blessings. And I see you soon. Bye-bye.